And we're over here. Yeah, it's live. That's all right. Benny and Kay were wrapping it up over there.
It's beautiful.
I love that. They were taking a look out there, but we're back in here now. We're in what we're calling the Mixer Fishbowl.
It is a fishbowl.
We've brought some pretty awesome guests with us. The first guest, of course, right here with us is Matt Allen, director of technical art.
There you go, thank you.
And we have got Bob Roberts over here, who's a design director for Monolith Studios. And we're going to talk about Shadow of War specifically.
Nice. Yeah.
We were talking about this a little bit before we started. I played the first game. I think I got about 60, 70 hours in. I didn't do 100% of everything, but I definitely...
That's pretty commendable.
Yeah, again, like I was saying, I'm like that 80% guy with video games of your nature. Like, I want to do about 80% of all the exploration, all the collecting, and beat the story, and I'm like, okay, this was good. I could sleep at night.
Yeah, well, that's good. Or you could play at night. Either one, right?
Spoken like a true dev. You could sleep or you could play our game.
You just keep going.
But a little bit to kind of talk about this. Want to jump right in. The first game took place, I'm kind of curious about this, between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, The Fellowship. Yep.
The Fellowship of the Rings, thank you. And then this one is a little bit later, as you guys have said. So you've been with them for a while.
We pick up right where we left off last time. Basically, there's a gap of time between the end of the last game and this one, but narratively, the last game kind of ended with, spoiler alert, it's time to forge a new ring. And that's exactly what we start on with this game. Forging the new ring, going out to Minas Ithil and trying to protect the big Gondorian city right at the edge of Mordor, and then starting to build your army to take the fight to Sauron.
Nice. If you want to hop on the sticks here, actually, let's start showing some of these people. This is a sexy load screen, but
Sexy. Actually, that was the pause screen showing your current nemesis. So now when you pause, you get to see the guy who's been messing with you the whole time.
It's kind of like a little bit of a neener, come and get me. I like that. So I kind of want to look here. First of all, this is gorgeous, by the way.
Thanks. Scorpio's really knocking it out of the park.
I was going to say, speaking of, I know this game is coming to Xbox One X.
Yep.
I think 4K and HDR is going to look like I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, we've been demoing it for a while now in 4K, but when we got it up and running on the One X, and we first started seeing it in HDR, it was, I don't know, it's really hard to describe unless you can see it. Like it's a different game. There's just more range to it. And one of the things that's interesting we found at work, because we don't have a lot of big 4K HDR TVs.
Right.
And so you have all of these content creators, you have all these guys who've been making Celebrimbor in Italian, and when they get to see it finally in 4K and HDR, they would just, when we started demoing it, they would just stare at it. They would get like 2 inches from the screen.
I like to picture they're like dying as they're just like, someone's like slaughtering them.
It doesn't matter. They're getting the crap kicked out of them. They're like, this is the pores. There's so many pores.
And I see here we're like rolling up on a fortress.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a fortress assault in Gorgoroth here. So back in the background, that's Barad-dûr. You are right on the footsteps of where Sauron's trying to build his power.
Oh, they'd be right up here on the precipice.
Yeah. This is super late in the game.
We don't have a ton of time, and this is late, and it's really hard.
Yeah.
And there's a good chance I'll die, but that's okay.
I've seen him die.
If anything, it'll prove that it's not a pre-record.
Yeah, and death is part of the game. Like that's the thing about the Nemesis system is you die. It's not like you reload from a checkpoint. You go for it. Time moves forward. The guy levels up. If he was a random grunt, then he gets a name, he becomes a captain, he becomes a boss, you can go hunt down and get revenge on.
And that's a big deal because you guys really blew a lot of socks off when you, or rings off, we could say, I'm going to do the dad jokes.
Yeah, that's good. No, I like it. I can roll with it.
With the initial Nemesis system, everyone loved it. I loved it. It was just different. Like, that's not something you experienced. It was death, okay, reload, go. Now, you guys have, like, expanded on that, so I'm really fascinated and curious about what's Nemesis, we'll call it Nemesis 1.0 to Nemesis 2.0.
Yeah, so, like, the big thing for us about the Nemesis system, it allows you to create your own story. You interact with these orcs, they kill you, you kill them, they remember it. It sort of builds this story personalized to you. And after Shadow War came out, we watched a bunch of people streaming, we looked at Reddit, we watched all of this stuff, and the stories that people built were unlike anything we could have imagined. And so what we did is we sort of looked at those stories and we thought, all right, well, how can we expand those stories? Like, how can we give more people more tools to
Right, we have this great concept, but how do we add more richness?
So the biggest one, which is just sort of a no-brainer when you think about it, is, well, you can make some of them your friends. So in the first game, they were all enemies.
Yeah.
And all you wanted to do was kill them
and
get revenge.
Yeah. It was just stab.
Yeah. And in this game, You are recruiting them. They are your
dragon?
army. Yeah.
I
Sorry.
did just
It's
get
a
on the
drake.
dragon.
It's a drake. It's a giant
A
You
drake.
should be paying attention. But
Sorry,
I like talking
I'm
about
gonna-
the Nemesis system.
Well, no, this is how it's gonna work. I'm gonna ask you a question, and then he's gonna do
Yeah.
something really badass, and
then
then I'm gonna get
there's
super.
another Drake.
Yeah.
Like, there's just
let me
multi
just-
Drakes.
let
Wait,
me
what
just
are you
pop
doing?
off.
What are you doing? Drake to Drake?
Yes.
Oh!
Drake to Drake transfer.
So,
All right,
mind
now-
blown.
I didn't
Now-
even know you could do that.
Now we've got
I
these guys
actually
on our
didn't either.
side, and I'm gonna
Oh,
just.
did you just recruit these guys?
Yeah. Now they're fighting for me. The Drakes will be flying around helping me now.
Yeah, so the Drakes will now be on his side. They were
gotta-
neutral beforehand.
I gotta save my
Because he
buddies.
grabbed him and
Yeah, he dominated them with the
Yep.
new Ring of Power.
Scar artist.
Scar artist. Look at that dude.
He looks tough.
I believe he has killed many.
he might need some Neospore.
Yeah, or some Neospore.
But no, that was really cool. Actually, the idea. You guys really expanded on the combat system there.
Yeah, like so from the beasts to how you interact with the orcs, to the types of moves they have, to the types of moves you have. Like
So even the enemies have a whole new play style and play set.
Yeah, like they will figure out how to play against you. So if you're constantly vaulting over them, they'll become vault breakers. So you can no longer do it.
I can't
like-
just spam vault.
Yeah,
vault,
you can't just
stab,
do that.
Vault stab.
Yeah, we watched how people were playing the last game. We're like, oh, that seems cheesy. Like what can we do to sort of
Oh
expand?
yeah, no, I want
that
a
type of
challenge.
stuff?
I don't want to just vault stab someone to death.
On top of that, like we actually added difficulty modes.
Oh.
So if you played it, oh my god, you were just dying.
Oh.
You were dead. Killed by the grog.
The Graug.
Well, I guess that's
There's one way to
fancy.
go by that. I mean, let's be honest. Like you Drake hopped, conquered a bunch of enemies, but then died by this giant. Like I think that's a good way to go.
Yeah,
I mean-
you were getting a little too fancy.
Yeah. I should have taken care of him first.
All right.
And
well,
the
this is the
Overlords
army
go
Oh, and then
scroll.
yeah, we're
And
watching
he
this.
died, yeah.
Oh.
So basically, he failed in his siege. And unlike normal games where it's like, well, you get to
I love
start
this battle. I
again.
love this battle report
Yeah.
you get here.
All of these guys are going to be leveling up. They've all gone through. We didn't actually see any of the sort of guy-on-guy action, but they've all leveled up now. Time has moved forward.
So when you died, you would have saw all those level up basically in the full
Yeah.
game.
Yep.
Okay.
Right.
And then now these guys are a little bit more badass basically
Yeah.
and ready to take it to you.
Except for the ones that died in the front row.
Yeah,
And
they're-
including one of your guys died over in the left, right?
Yeah. So I also just made this guy my bodyguard, so I can call him in when I need help in here next
Oh, is
time.
that when you tagged him?
Yeah.
So is he like an emergency break? Like
Yeah.
I'm getting my butt kicked. I
And this
kind of
is
need some
when we were
help.
talking about sort of expanding, now it's night and rainy. When we were talking about expanding the Nemesis system, yeah.
It wasn't night and rainy the first time.
No, time moves forward.
Okay.
Weather changes. Things
Okay.
happen.
I'm digging this so far.
Yeah.
All right, let's go
So
again.
those, he now has this guy as his bodyguard. He's going to call him in, and you can weave in as people have played through this. Some of the best news stories coming out of Monolith and our playtests are the folks who are like, I had this dude. He was my best friend. I played with him for hours. He went on all of these missions with me. He saved me twice. And then,
Oh,
and then
you like
I couldn't
establish that
Yeah,
camaraderie.
and then he got killed by this guy. Or
Oh, that would
he
make me
He
mad.
betrayed me. Yeah, and so we've actually had people say, this has made me more annoyed. Welcome to Gamescom.
Yeah.
Feedback. They're like, this is like it just does things emotionally to people, and it's incredible because they
I gotta
built
say,
that
like, if
story
I invested
themselves.
that, like, in a guy and I made him my bodyguard, and like, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 levels.
Yep.
And then
Wait, what?
he captured your spy.
What?
Okay, so
You've seen this dude.
so
you guys
that was
really-
the guy that was guarding that first point.
He was guarding
wasn't
the first
He
point.
wasn't our spy,
They've messed up.
but I don't know if we have audio on this, but this is one of those bugs that became a feature. Like we saw that happen one time a few months back, and we're like, oh, that wasn't our spy, and we're like, what would make that a feature is if when you come back, whoever you brought along with you says, you know what, we don't have a spy in there. I think he's a little paranoid.
Yeah. So this guy right now is like, we don't have a spy.
That wasn't one of ours. So, there's that pain of like, if you did the work to infiltrate a spy to make this easier, and the Overlord finds him out and kills him, there's that feeling of like, oh, damn, I put the work in. That's frustrating.
You guys,
but
you
every
double
once in a
down on
while-
that choice and consequence. I feel like I have to say it's kind of impressive the idea that you guys took all the feedback from the community and then also went out into the community and watched everything that they were doing, and you were like, wait a minute, these are all great single stories, but what if we can? You guys essentially
Like, what are the-
tripled down on the uniqueness.
Or
Because now I feel like if
quadruple.
I'm streaming it, you're streaming it, and you're streaming it, and producer over there streaming it.
It should all be different.
none of us would get. Well, yeah, because all we different play styles.
Like you'll have different stories. Like not just the play styles, but the guys you interact with. All of those orcs are different, and so how they interact with you, like for us. That's the cool thing is we love watching streams. We love watching other people play, and if we can give streamers and folks more stuff to do and more things to sort of show off to their audiences, that's huge. It's fun. It's fun to watch this stuff.
I love that. I like the idea that's basically like, let's put the game in your hands and then they kind of make it. You guys have made this playground, but you didn't tell them where to go and what to use. Yeah. You let them kind of go and do all those things.
That's a huge portion of how we try to build this stuff.
Out of here.
It's just non-stop monster mash.
I was gonna say.
And that guy's, did he jump down and just start beating? Oh, there's a bronze. There's another Drake.
Let me release this guy.
Oh my god.
All right, you guys.
And this is still the first victory point. He's got 4 victory points. How much time do we have?
This is ridiculous. We're not going to make it.
There's no way.
I mean, we're well into the game. We're not in the beginning.
Yeah.
No.
This definitely would be. You would definitely be like a master of that whole. I would almost call it a ballet of arts.
Yeah.
And then chat, I got chat up here, and
Chat.
everyone's just saying, this looks amazing.
Thanks, chat. That's awesome.
Chat is very impressed. The fighting, the techniques you're using, it's a ballet of death.
It is.
He
just dropped it. Yeah, he dropped his Drake down there.
And look, he's like guarding it, like he just backhanded him. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, double death.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Oh, the Drake's all right. He's still alive, right?
No, he's not.
He's gone. He's gone. Okay.
I think it was worth the Drake fall.
It was.
So essentially, you're taking away like the tower guard.
Yeah. So these guys are dropping the bombs down below onto the victory points, and by taking them out, it's a little bit safer for your army to come in here. But Bob's already skipped the other victory points, and so the only folks down on that victory points are the enemy war chiefs. So he can just drop bombs on them, get rid of them early.
Given the different playstyles, you can either work your way. So for me, as like a completionist, I would definitely be like ring 1, ring 2. Like I would try to work my way through the rings.
There's definitely different ways to do it. Your army is pretty competent, so they're back there taking stuff. But at the same time, he's seeing a lot of his captains bleeding out. So he's not there to actually help them.
I see them all.
I got to make my way back and save them. That's one of those things that they can betray you if you don't come to their rescue.
And I see here you can shame someone.
I just chased this guy down who was terrified and running away after that chaos. And so I can just grab him in the middle of the fight.
Him. I'm pretty sure anyone would be running their loincloth.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to recruit him and have him just join my team for the rest of the assault here, if he'll have
And this is how you build up your army in the sandbox portion of the game. You find captains and orcs that are like, oh, this guy would really help me. I like this guy's playstyle, or I just like how he looks.
Or he just looks like a really
he just
awesome
looks totally badass.
partner. Yeah.
And you use those guys then, build up your army, and they're there for you.
I really like the idea that you can storm the castle in the different ways. And it looks like, so did you just basically capture all those guys to make them yours? Oh, it's your down.
Yeah, so these are the guys, these are the captains you brought in. And they were getting,
and you don't want them to die
the crap kicked out of them.
They don't respawn.
Well, they don't. So they won't respawn here. They may not be dead. They're bleeding out.
Right.
And so what this does is this deals a blow to their morale. And so you could have kept bringing these guys in.
Yeah,
you left me here to die. Yep. And so they could come back. They'll still have the blue over their head. You'll be like, oh yeah, this guy is friendly. And at a certain point, sometimes usually in a very inopportune point, they'll come back and be like, you left me to die. I'm switching sides.
That guy looks terrifying.
Got another one.
So they can even like switch over and be like, oh wait, no, I'm gonna fight the winning side.
We call that a betrayal.
I like the idea that it can get in there and betray them. This looks gorgeous, by the way. I know personally, I know we dropped our pre-orders the other day. Xbox did for the Scorpio.
Yeah.
The Xbox One X's.
Yeah.
Scorpio edition. I grabbed one of that.
Fantastic.
I think I'm going to wait, and this might be one of my first games that I boot up in there. I like the idea that it can be complex. You can have your own story. This is something I want to stream.
The One X really, this game shines in the One X. 4K, HDR.
Oh, I'm sure it's just like
silky
butter.
Smooth, yeah. We did a lot of stuff. And we got this thing up and running super fast and been banging on it for a while. I'm super happy with the hardware. It's really nice.
And I was going to say, just to clarify too, you guys are launching...
October 10th.
October 10th.
Yeah,
Very
so
soon.
a little bit before the One X comes out. So you might have to wait a bit.
No, I'll wait. I'll stay spoiler free on the internet.
That's going to be hard.
just these ballet acts I'm watching are just
Oh yeah,
insane.
traversal. We did a lot of upgrades to traversal. So there's a double jump, kicking it Mario style.
Hit the bait.
Yeah, this is something I feel like almost like you see like Braveheart movies where they charge and you watch the big battles.
Yeah.
You guys have basically successfully recreated that.
That was actually what in
Tolkien's
the
universe.
initial brief was like, let's do Helm's Deep. So these things they're pretty crazy, and this is pretty much as crazy as the game gets with all of this stuff going on. Tons of AI on the screen at one time. But we feel it's a really good way to show off really quickly show off the interactions.
No, I feel like you understand like what's going on with your captains, what's going on with your unlocks. You've got your overview of your map.
Yep.
No, this all makes sense to me, and the idea that of the victory points, I love that. I love the idea that it's close, it's right up there, kind of for you, and what you can see.
Yeah, the hunter. Those guys are a pain in the butt.
And again, they can adapt to your play style depending on what you want. I think the difference between the first one and this one is it feels like a real battle. Like you're not just a Superman, you know. I mean, you look, you're pretty badass like one.
By the end of the last game, you were pretty OP. So
nice. I think I love that, and I love the idea that you can just
arrow proof. So he
you
can't drop
son of
down.
a
They're
bitch.
both arrow
Okay.
proof. So he couldn't drop down to him.
I'm just gonna kill him.
And I wonder if that happened because he was sitting there shooting all those
shooting at
arrows.
him. Yeah.
That's insane. I love
All
that.
right, so this is maybe halfway through the fort assault, jumping into the end here, but looks like we might be out of time.
Yeah,
so.
that's exciting. Yeah, I was gonna say we could keep going. We keep looking at this and keep going to the battle. I think we might
just keep playing.
actually still keep playing, but Benny and Kate are checking out over here on the booth. So they're gonna give you guys a little bit of a booth tour. So we're gonna go check them out, and we'll be right back.